anything. I'm going to try to find it on here.
It's like I barely pushed it.
We had to get that right.
Today's meeting of the Neighborhood Affordable Housing Advisory Board is called to order on April 11th. Please welcome everybody. Agendas for today's meeting are on the wall at the entrance to the chambers. Please remember to silence your cell phones. To ensure a complete record of the board's actions, we ask that each individual wishing to speak clearly state your name and spell your last name for the clerk. I will ask the board members to introduce themselves and identify the fields you represent.
Good morning, my name is Camille Hepting. I represent the employers in Clearwater.
Good morning, I'm Robin Field, and I am a residential lender.
Gabriela Camacho, and I represent nonprofit residential builder.
Lindsay Davis Harrison and real estate.
And I'm Kevin Chenault. I'm the board chair, and I represent the nonprofit providers of affordable housing here in Clearwater. Item 2.1, approval of the minutes. First order of business is to approve the minutes of the board's February 14th meeting. May I have a motion to approve item 2.1?
I'll make a motion to approve item 2.1.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3 is citizens to be heard on items that are not on the agenda. Is there anyone here wishing to speak on items that are not on today's agenda? Please approach.
Good morning to you all. My name is Beth Davis, D-A-V-I-S. I didn't mean to be. And I've never presented to an advisory board before, so if I'm out of order at any point, somebody raise their hand. But I represent a group of citizens, and we're here to help you. And we spoke at City Council a few weeks back, several of us, about the need for housing in Clearwater and the many reasons, and the many silos that are there, as you know and as you represent, that make it difficult for people to find shelter, and then also homes, our college graduates and others. So in summary, I want you to know that naively, we realize Clearwater signed the Advantage Pinellas Housing Compact. There's so many names, and we made a commitment. And how are we tracking that commitment is what we're coming to grips with. And again, I remind you, we're here to help you. We have made a promise to ourselves. We're going to meet with each city council member for half an hour and discuss our concerns and why we think it should be a priority. We looked at this year's budget and realized housing was funded down 1% in our Clearwater budget, and because there was no need. This was kind of the phrasing. And we know the budget's under review right now, and the 10-year strategy is under review, and the charter is under review, and this is a perfect time for citizens to say, how can we get smarter and more helpful to the whole process to build our city now from the ground up with the housing that our kids need, our college graduates need, and the many people that work here shouldn't have to live in Pasco and Ruskin and commute. So that's why we're here. If I can, I would like to hand out what we've been giving the city council members, and we haven't met with everybody. I made a copy for each one of you. It's no more really than my summary of what we talked about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And our promise to you is that we're here to help. And if we can meet with you one-on-one, we would want to, and share our thoughts and learn from you, because you've been at this much longer than we have. We represent many foundations, Faith in Florida, St. Vincent de Paul, the Urban League from Greenwood. We are working together to try to make this a better process, and a real important strategic time for our city. As you approve the mission, the mission says we need to track and account for the homes. Denise brought up the other day, the last council meeting, that solar is part of the commitment from Greenprint 2.0, and how do we do that? And Councilwoman Teixeira said, should we spend our money on solar or not? I think we have to walk and chew gum at the same time, because people need affordable appliances and all those things. There's a lot of money on the table. $731 million just got signed. We met with Chuck Lane before he moved to Public Works, and he said if that money flows, we need to all help manage that money and ask for our share. There's solar money in Tallahassee that just got approved, and so it goes. But we're here to help. My name's Beth Davis, and I look forward to helping you help us. Thanks.
Beth, may I ask if your group has a name?
No, we are a group of Clearwater citizens trying to get our housing on the right track.
Okay, thank you.
We laughed at ourselves about that, but thank you.
Thank you, Beth.
Good morning. My name is Mohammed Abdul Rahim. It's ABDUR-RAHIM. Pretty sure that most of you are aware, but I just want to actually kind of echo Beth because I'm a part of the group that she's referring to, and actually I'm a resident of North Greenwood. I've been a resident there since, wow, I forgot, 1989. Same house. Grandmother was in that house. Mothers were in the house. I was in that house. The reason I'm mentioning that is this. My daughter recently had to move to Riverview. And I've always wanted to have my children actually live in the same city that I've come to live in. I worked for this city for 36 years. And for some reason, we're in a spiraling point when it comes to affordable housing. So our children, young children of course, they're having to actually move outside of our city. The ones who are actually here are the ones who actually have been settled with a pension or whatever to actually stay within the homes and within the residence of Clearwater. And of course, we're getting older. So when it comes to our children and taking our place, we don't have any. They're all having to move outside of our city. So what we're trying to do is encourage you to do whatever you can do to actually make housing affordable for our own citizens in this community, because it's going to be needed. I just heard the plans that are coming up for the 2045 comprehensive plan. And that plan is going to lay out, for our city for the next 20-something years from down the road. But we have to have housing components built in it so that we can actually do a better job that we're doing for our citizens. So thank you for listening, and I hope that actually would echo in policies and procedures. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Cassandra Gatson. I am a mother of 5 children. The reason, just echoing the points that they've made, I'm not a part of their organization, but it sounds like a wonderful organization to be a part of. I am a mother of 5 children that are not in this county at this moment. I am staying currently at the Haven Shelter right now. It's a shelter for abused and battered women. And my children are in foster care. So I've gone through this case plan that's taken about a year, and I've completed everything. I've gone to the domestic violence classes, I've gone and done everything, and finally last month, I had enough courage to get out. So, as a mother, there's not very many programs out here for mothers who have gone through and done what I've done. I'm a 4th generation foster kid. I started doing this when I was 9 years old. My 7-year-old, a couple weeks ago, tried to jump off of her school because she wants to be reunited with her mother. I've lost 1 child to the foster care system. I cry about this daily. There's a need for affordable housing for mothers who are trying to get their kids back and try to be reunified with their children. I ask that you guys hear and dedicate whatever you're able to do. I ask that you guys see me, not see my illnesses, and I hope that you guys, for the sake of my children and children in our generation, like I said, I am a 4th generation foster kids. My kids are 5th generation. I would like to break the cycles. I would like to see and show my daughter that she can successfully raise a child herself. My biggest fear becoming a mother was that I would go through the same things and face the same hardships as my mother did. And due to non-affordable housing, I'm facing those same exact fears, and I was not successful not getting my kids taken away. So if there's anything that you can do, anything at all, I ask that you guys hear us. And for my family, and for my beautiful babies, I ask you to do whatever you can. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's Cassandra, last name spelled Gadson. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else come forward, we will move to the next item on the agenda. Item 4.1 is presentations by applicants for community development block grant funding for public service programs, public facility improvements, and economic development programs. Each year, we receive applications for funding. They're wide-ranging applications and do a lot of good in our community. And we appreciate hearing what the good is done in the community and look forward to hearing your presentations today. Ms. Sanderson, please explain to the board where today's presentations fit into the city's grant application cycle and when we can expect these programs to begin helping Clearwater citizens.
Good morning, Denise Anderson, Economic Development and Housings. Thank you very much, Chairman. So each year, around this time of year, we do a call for applications in February. That grant application cycle closed out in March. This is there's a component of this, the public services component, that is a competitive grant application cycle. And the reason for that is that HUD CDBG funding has a regulatory cap of 15% of its allocation must be, is the maximum amount we can spend on public services. And as you've just heard, there's a lot of need in the community for services, and so this is a competitive cycle. We have a technical review committee that will be meeting on Thursday morning to evaluate and score these applications. And then we have a staff analysis component that will contribute to the review as well. These applications, public services, public facilities, and economic development programs, will come back to you all in May as we begin to make recommendations for the allocations of the entire funding cycle. The funding cycle really kind of culminates with council approval of it and our home budget, which is the other federal program that we have. They go into what is known as the annual action plan, which is part of the HUD 5-year consolidated plan. This will be the fourth year. October will begin the fourth year of that AAP cycle, as we call it, after which we'll be able to begin funding those projects effective 10/1. So this is a really important component. There will be public hearing processes that begin in June, a public comment period that precedes, public hearing begins in July. The public comment period will precede that, and all of these activities, the Neighborhood and Affordable Housing Advisory Board is critical, really, to not only the public review and vetting and discussion of these projects, but the approval process as we move through this HUD-mandated process that's before us, okay?
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Our presentations today, we have quite a few of them. I do encourage and stress that each of you will have time limits, and we do ask that you stay with your time limits so that we do consolidate and keep on time today. Our first presenters are Rhonda Lieberman and Katrina Tucker with West Care, Gulf Coast, Florida. You will have 3 minutes to present.
Good morning.
I'm Rhonda Lieberman, and this is Katrina Tucker. We're with West Care Gulf Coast, Florida. We have homeless and SUD disorders, who the clients that we work with. We have a Turning Point that is our homeless shelter, and we have services of Mustard Seed as a transitional housing, and we have Davis Fry, the building, is our residential program, and we have outpatient services. Katrina will talk about Turning Point, which is what we've requested funding for, $30,000 for a case manager.
My name is Katrina Tucker, Tucker. I've been at West Care's Turning Point for the last 17 years. When I first got to Turning Point, we could house about 85 clients with substance abuse and homeless issues at a time. Due to not being able to get funding, we're down to being able to serve about 40 at this point. Just imagine you're all sitting here and you got out of your nice cars and you left your nice homes to come to this meeting, and what I'm trying to do is keep the people off the street from breaking into your cars and your homes while you're here. We have a lot of success stories at Turning Point. We're the only homeless shelter that take people in that are inebriated. We give them 30 days of stabilization and try moving to the next phase of their treatment. I also am able to hire people that went through Turning Point to be able to be productive citizens and work for Turning Point. I have one staff who's been through Turning Point 12 times, and she's been with me 14 years. Another staff who went through Turning Point 7 times, and she's been with me for about 4 years. If you allow me to, I'd like to take homeless people that have substance abuse problems off the street for you. I know that it works, and the reason I know that it works is that April 21st, I'll be celebrating 36 years of recovery, and I was one of those kind of people. So if you allow me to do it by helping me with the funding, I would love to help change some lives for you. We get about 12 to 15% from Clearwater area clients at a time, and so our success rate in helping, of course it can be better. They have to want it too, but we have a lot of people who show them what it would be like on the other side, so that they can also be a productive member of society. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a couple quick questions from your application. You state that there are 3 phases of the treatment. What do you have any results on the number of folks who move from phase 1 to phase 2 and 3?
The first one is pretty much detoxing them and giving them a place to sleep, food, shelter, clothing, and that lasts us about 3 to 5 days. After 3 days, we do a screening on them and ask them if they're willing to go to the next phase, which is pretty much going through groups, teaching them about 12-step recovery, helping them get stabilized. And the third phase is moving them out to look for jobs, getting their IDs, getting them involved in the health care system so that they can get help. If they, we probably have about 80% who go to the third phase of treatment. So, some of the times the police officers bring them in, they do the 3 days, they sober up that night and say, I don't want this place yet, But we also can allow them to come back as many times as they need to come back to complete it. So it depends, but about 80% that show up stay for the second phase and move to the third phase.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Board? No. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Our next presenters are Jaleem Robinson and Donald Walker from Metropolitan Ministries. You will have 3 minutes to present.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jaleem Robinson. I serve as the Director of Community Collaboration for Metropolitan Ministries and serve Hillsborough, Pinellas, and Pasco County. And this is
Donald Walker, W-A-L-K-E-R. I'm the Associate Director of Community Collaboration. I'm here in Pinellas for Metropolitan Ministries.
So I'm going to let Don take it away because he's here on the ground doing the work already, so he can speak best to what we're trying to do.
And thank you for having us today. We did put in the application, but we do see some of the partners that we work with, some organizations like West Care and Tampa Bay Housing Services, Hope Villages. Look forward to working with them in the future as well. But what we're talking about here is 100 families. In this grant, the money set aside to be able to help 100 families through navigation. And that's something that we've already been doing for a while with multiple navigators across the counties. But just in St. Pete alone and a little bit in Greenwood, we've been able to help over 40 families since January prevent homelessness, since just this quarter. So that's the effectiveness that we've had with the few people that we have. To add another navigator would be a tremendous impact for this culture, for this, this community. We see the statistics as more than 1 out of every 10 families are in poverty in Clearwater, and in Greenwood alone, 33% of the children live in childhood poverty. And we have a plan to fix that, at least put a dent in it through our navigation. Our navigators work alongside families. They help them with rental assistance and utility assistance. But that's like, remember the old cartoons when there's a hole in the boat and you stick your finger in and another hole comes up? To prevent the other holes from coming up, what we have that sets us apart is a self-sufficiency plan. In our self-sufficiency plan, we connect those families to case management, Metro at large here in Pinellas County, and some of the people at the mothership that we call the main office in Tampa. We connect them to those services there with many different ways. Food sustainability, which last year we fed 4.2 million people. Last week in Greenwood, we gave over 280 boxes of food for families. We also have mental health services that we connect people with, shelter services for a limited amount of families who were able to, a couple weeks ago, we had a mother with 6 children, and we transferred her over so she could receive shelter care. Job training that we're starting to advance here in Pinellas County through culinary arts and multiple partnerships. So I believe not only our navigation is key, but the fact that our navigators have self-sufficiency opportunities for these families to be able to be sustained over a long period of time. So.
Thank you. Board, any questions on this program?
What was the request? I'm sorry.
Oh, so it's for a navigator.
Salary and benefits.
So, yeah, salary and benefits for navigator.
What was the funding amount you're?
It was
54,900, I believe.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that if we were to fund the salary and benefits for that person, would that person be dedicated just to Clearwater or to Pinellas County as a whole? How would that work?
An additional navigator on our team would be separated just for Clearwater.
Okay.
4 to 5 days a week.
Okay.
And then in addition to that navigator, we've set aside funds to be able to, specifically for that navigator to do what they do in the Clearwater area. So in addition to what we're already doing, we have funds set aside to make sure that they have set aside funds to access.
Okay.
To make the picture clearer, the navigator that we do have working on our team, that's mainly in St. Pete, 7 families out of the 40 were in Clearwater.
Okay.
So imagine one navigator just focusing on Clearwater.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you for your time. We appreciate the
Have a
presentation.
great day.
Next up is Helena Calhoun from Personal Enrichment through Mental Health Services. You will have 5 minutes to present. You have 1 application for public services and 1 for facilities improvement project.
Correct. Thank you very much. And my name is Helena Calhoun, HELENACALHOUN. I'm PAM's Marketing and Development Director. So PAM's has submitted 2 very distinct applications. I will be speaking about the CDBG one for Paxton Net 2 Access, and I would like to provide you some material that might make it a little clearer. So some of you do know, some of you don't. PAMS stands for Personal Enrichment through Mental Health Services. What we do, we have actually 2 adult crisis stabilization units where most of our clients are unfortunately coming in through law enforcement, so involuntarily, as well as a children's crisis unit. Another campus of ours in Largo provides community services. The grant that I am asking the funds for, $33,000, is for access system to our crisis units. Currently, this is what we use. Keys for access to crisis units. Unfortunately, this is not a safe way to enter any longer. As we all know, keys get lost. At times, our employees leave, do not return keys, so we have to make replacements to either doors or the keys themselves. Having such a incredibly large access system that would allow us to not only control access and safety to our building, it would also allow us to deny access to those that no longer should have access to our crisis units, which would, of course, then in turn make our units much safer, not only for our staff, but for clients themselves. I think it's important to look at a longer-term plan for PEMS. We are working on a lot of other safety improvements, and adding this keyless entry system, we believe would be crucial to really securing compassionate, safe care on our units. I do want to just briefly say that our other campus has applied for public services grant. Our community director was not able to be present today. However, I do know it was for Navigator as well, for the Northwood Green Center. I can tell you that they have so far had 98% success rate. They already have a Navigator funded through United Way. So just to continue services that the office is set up, the person has set up, they know what they're already working with, they have their client base. So all we're asking for is additional funding to continue services.
I do have a question, and if you can answer it on the navigation side, is the population you're serving the general population, or do they have to have work with you under the mental health side?
No, they do not have to work under the mental health side. It is general population.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Board, any questions for this presenter?
I do, and maybe I misunderstood or missed it, so I apologize if you already explained it, but just to be clear, the access system that you're requesting funding for is for crisis units. Who is the population that you're serving in those crisis units?
Crisis units mostly serve, we call them those who are underserved, meaning that those are the indigent population, low to moderate income population, those who are homeless, usually no shelter, no home, living out on the streets. So those who are severely underserved. That's our population.
Okay, and those crisis units are places where they live, or?
No. So law enforcement enforces the Baker Act, brings them over to our crisis units to stabilize them. Okay. Normally, they stay with us for 72 hours. However, if they are still not stable within that period of time, we are required to extend the Baker Act until they are, and we can release them back to the general public.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for considering us.
Thank you for your
Have a
time.
good day.
Our next presenter is Andrea Vendetti with the Intercultural Advocacy Institute, also known as the Hispanic Outreach Center. Please come to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes to present today.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Andrea Vendetti. I'm the Senior Program Manager at the Intercultural Advocacy Institute Hispanic Outreach Center, and this is Yajaira Cerro Blanco. And we are here today to ask your support to continue funding our Youth Leadership Partnership Program. This program brings middle school students, high school students, and parents together in a very culturally and appropriate environment for our immigrant families. It is successful because it involves parents, and we provide them with the education they need to support their students. As immigrants, they don't know very well how to support their students in pursuing a higher education. Since 2012, we developed this program with the support of the funds from CDBG. Last year, we provided services for 25 families. And the curriculum focuses on developing relationships and opportunities they need in their families, schools, and communities, and also in develop social emotional strength, values, and commitment they need. And we are here today with Yajaira, who is a student, and we would like her to tell you her experience as a participant of the program.
Okay, good morning. My name is Yajaira Cerro. It's Cerrobl. And the YLP program has been a huge help to my mother, who's standing right behind me today. And as a Hispanic student, we don't get many opportunities to be successful in life. And I've seen that with many family members who have gone through rough patches and many difficulties in their lives that greatly affect our families too. And what I like to say is that the YLP program has not only opened up an opportunity for us as Hispanic students to do greater things in life than just do service work and anything else that can come our way. The YLP program has helped my family especially in many ideas, and my mom was not always helped. My dad has been deported, and I have been just helped by my mom. My mom has supported me and my two other older sisters who were not here today, but my two sisters are college graduates. They have been in SPC for 2 years already. My sisters right now are still in college, but they're both high school graduates and they've done a great job. And what I like to say is that the YLP program offers a space for students to gather and talk about relevant concepts and problems and achieve common goals. By participating, I have learned real-world experiences and improved my understanding of individual skills and capabilities for your aim.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming and sharing with us also. Board, do you have any questions for this particular program? Thank you. Appreciate it. The Kimberly Home is our next presenter. CEO Kathleen Kelly is here along with Monique Whitaker to present their application. You will have 3 minutes to present.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. My name is Kate Kelly. I am the CEO of Kimberly Home, and this is Monique Whitaker. She's our housing director. We spell her Kelly and
WHITAKER.
Many of you know that Kimberly Home has been in Clearwater serving the community and the surrounding areas for the past 40 years. We are focused mostly on pregnant women, new moms, their children, and families. We have a counseling center and an education program, but on campus we also have housing as well as our child care center that's right on the property as well. So we have a beautiful campus that the city has really helped us along the way to develop. Kimberly Home is really focused greatly on an education piece of getting moms prepared to be able to be a good parent to child, first starting with pregnancy, development, the birthing, breastfeed, anything that you could possibly need to learn about pregnancy, birthing, and then parenting as well. Our big focus in the past several years has been housing homeless moms or those at risk of homelessness. Monique is the housing director, so she can fill you in on what happens in that program.
So within the housing program, the ladies come in to basically be reestablished. They're coming in for help. They need help with lots of services. So we do collaborate with different agencies within the park and partnership within the community so they can get the services they need concerning case management. We partner with Salvation Army. We do also partner with Nurse Family Partnership, Healthy Families. All these services provide case management services for us to assist these ladies as they come in and they just focus on reestablishing their life. The whole goal is for them to have sustainability. We do budgeting sessions. We do infant massage classes. We don't just do all classes focused on life skills, but we also do some fun things. We do bingo night. We have cookouts. Things to make it feel like it's just a big family. So that's a portion of what we go through.
We're here today to ask for salary support for our house. We call it resident advisor, aka house mom, which is really the affectionate term. We have found over the years we absolutely need someone living on the grounds, on the campus, for the middle of the night, on the weekends. As many of you know, most babies seem to come in the middle of the evening, or we had one born in Hurricane Ian at 5 o'clock in the morning with no power. We put that in our grant, and that worked out. But we've been without that position for most of last year, and all of that burden has fallen on Monique herself, which means 24/7. She's been weekends, nights, and we do have a new person now. We do provide the live-in expenses, but the salary support part is the part we're here for.
Thank you. Board, do you have any questions for Kimberly Holm? Thank you. We appreciate everything that you do for our community.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Our next presenter is Ms. Lewis from Hope Villages of America. You will have 5 minutes to present. You have 1 public service application and 1 facilities improvement project.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. So Hope Villages, we've been in the community since 1967, serving over 150,000 Pinellas County residents. And we do that in a number of different ways. Our food bank, which assists about 80 some sub-sites, which are mini pantries across the county. We are also on a few college campuses, and then we also serve our programs, the Haven, and 2 of our affordable housing shelters, affordable housing locations, the Oaks and Goldsmith Gardens. And then also we have the Haven, which is a certified domestic violence shelter, which serves women and children that are in imminent danger, escaping and fleeing from abuse. And through our outreach services, they're able to receive services, whether it's looking for a job, resume writing, legal advocates will help assist them with injunctions in the court, filing restraining orders, and then also relocation as well. So for the 2 applications that we applied for, first is our HVAC project at the food bank. We requested $95,000 to help fund that HVAC project, which is critical. Obviously, we need to make sure we have enough ventilation in the food bank to ensure that our food, we're giving out the best fresh food to our participants in need. And then also, too, we rely on those volunteers and staff to make it happen, and we want to make sure that they are comfortable doing the work that they do as well. So for the domestic violence, the Haven position, we are requesting $21,865 to assist with the funding of a part-time advocate. And as you can see with Cassandra here, is a, thank you, Cassandra. As a participant of the Haven, we need advocates to assist survivors like Cassandra, getting on their feet, getting on the path to self-sufficiency, making sure we give them the tools and resources that they need so that way they do not go back to their abusers, and then also make sure we're meeting the needs of their personal goals, whether it's getting their children back. We want to be in the position to do that, and advocates, they really handle that, and it's really crucial and critical to the success of our survivors.
This position, is it already filled and just funding to continue?
Yes, so this will be ongoing. Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Next up is Star Mastrodano with We Care. You will have 3 minutes to present.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Last name is Mastrodonato. I am a program manager at We Care, and we are excited at the prospect of being able to work with Clearwater to help bridge the funding gap with child care. Currently, right now, there are 21,925 women not participating in the workforce here in Clearwater, and that creates a child care gap of 2,965, which is equivalent to 185 new providers that could be establishing micro-enterprises here. As you know, there's been a significant barrier with childcare, and the COVID-19 epidemic has only exacerbated some of those challenges where families are having to decide, do they work or does someone stay home? And generally, it is the mother that has to stay home, and that's creating inequitable situations at home for housing and inequality inside the workplace. So we want to help address those challenges by ensuring that the City of Clearwater has the opportunity for most of those women in particular to get back into the workforce. By doing so, we want to give you the option of the proposed BOOST program, which aims to provide economic development support to child care provider micro-enterprises. and that will help them either establish or to strengthen their current businesses. Obviously, if we're able to strengthen those businesses, then a lot of other parents will have the opportunity to put their children in care, which would be the low to moderate income population, which majority of the providers that are giving the care, they're also part of that population. We know that you want to go ahead and create or retain 400 jobs and help 1,000 businesses. And what we would like to do with the funding is to focus on 30 of the most focused micro enterprises, and that will help them either again go from an 8 to a 14 in terms of having children there, and we can scale that up as necessary. And by being able to provide that care to the community, that can give you 9 to 30 new positions that are going to help boost your economic development, because now families are able to go back to work. We've been reaching out to some of the local providers in the community, because we have not touched here, but we are with partnering in Tampa and St. Petersburg. But they're excited at the opportunity to potentially partner and receive some of this funding to be able to support them. We help establish businesses, the business practices, how to do budgets, how to do the marketing for them, so then the people around them know that they're available and ready to give out that care. So we don't just give the money to them and say go. We actually have a care support team that is available 24/7 to answer any questions, not only to the provider, but to the families that they're serving.
How long have you been in this area where you're new to us?
We are new to Clearwater. We haven't popped into Clearwater. However, we are in Tampa and St. Petersburg. There are providers that are there. And so as our research team looks to see exactly where the need is, we established that there's a lot of need for affordable housing, and a lot of the micro enterprises like family child care providers, they were saying like, we want to continue having our own businesses, but we don't have the funding or the know-how to stay in business. So that's why we are here.
So describe a little bit more about who your target population is. You talked about existing businesses and you talked about new businesses. What is your exact target population?
The exact target population for the first 30 would be existing family child care micro enterprises, because they already have those businesses. We want to be able to save them. If there is only one child there, then it's very hard to keep the lights on and to feed and to justify staying open. So that would be our target at first, and those are located in low to moderate income neighborhoods.
Any questions from the...
I do. So I just want to clarify the numbers you shared, because I tried to write them down and then I got distracted. So there's 30 micro enterprise childcare providers currently in Clearwater that you're looking at that could benefit from this program?
There's actually 47, but we know with the needs and just how the team has been reaching out, there are 30 that we like to focus on that need that immediate help.
Okay. And then how many women did you say are not in the workforce currently in Clearwater?
21,925.
I wrote it down right? I was looking back and I was like, there's no way this is correct. And then you said it again.
Yes, it's correct. And that's that gap with them having to keep their children home that's 2,965. And if we're able to support them, we've seen it in other places where they branch out and say, look what they're doing for us. And we know easily you can end up with 100 then micro enterprises. And it's a lot cheaper and affordable for family child care versus a child care center.
Absolutely. So really, if we were to fund your request, we would be helping both the families that are trying to find childcare that can't find childcare, as well as the companies, the small businesses that have started either a long time ago or recently that can barely keep the lights on because they don't have enough kids that they're taking care of.
That is correct. And we, by doing that, again, we market for the provider, and then we do some outreach and just kind of put some marketing and commercials out there, say, hey, we're here, where there's signs in their front yard at the schools, then we'll go ahead and do that to make sure that they're supported.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I have one question. Do you have any statistics about, like in St. Petersburg or in Tampa, like the families that you have served with this program, like how much have they increased their businesses?
Yes, I have a few. We have the research team, but when we started, they were having roughly 2 to 5 enrollments, and now we have helped them establish to become larger daycare centers or family child care centers, and they have 14. So they are scattered between Tampa and St. Petersburg. But there is a 98% success rate, and generally the people that don't stay is they feel like they can do it on their own, or they feel like, they're, and that's great, because then that means we've done our job. The other ones stay just because it is a little bit more helpful for us to help them with their taxes, to help them find out new trends that are going on in the child care system, so they stay connected with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Our next presenter is Teresa Pritchard with Gulf Coast Legal Services. Please come to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes to present today.
Good morning. I'm Teresa Pritchard, CEO of Gulf Coast Legal Services. We are based. Oh, it's fast. It was a fast. We are based here in St. Petersburg. We've been around, and we have offices in Hillsborough County, Sarasota County, and Manatee as well. But our main office is here in Pinellas. We've been, this year is 45 years of providing free civil legal assistance to our neighbors and community members who are low income and vulnerable and in need of legal help. So I'm here today. We're seeking funding in support of our Housing Legal Services project. Our staff is able, through this funding, we provide, my amazing housing team provides free civil legal aid on housing matters for income eligible Clearwater residents. All of the clients who come forward and who are eligible for services earn under 80% of the median income, but most of our clients are under 50% of the area median income. And in fiscal year, with this funding, in fiscal year 21 to 22, our team assisted 25 households through the CDBG funding. Our staff works on a variety of housing issues. Recently, the evictions defense has been the primary source that folks are coming forward for assistance. They may also help with fair housing issues and subsidized housing, and then also if there's some financial stability assistance needed, so if the client's having issues with a creditor or some other issues, we have a financial stability team that can step in as well. With the increase, with the end of COVID relief funds and lease moratoriums, we're seeing an increase in requests for housing assistance. So we do meet, while we have a main office in St. Pete, we provide community lawyering, so we try to meet clients if it's more accessible. Obviously, Pinellas County is very hard to navigate sometimes with traffic, so we are able to meet the clients where they are available at community partners, and then also if there's a teleconference or a video capability for the clients and they prefer that, we can do that as well. So just as some examples, most recently our staff helped with the residents of the Capri Mobile Home Park and also the Westchester Apartments. They were able to help and step in when those folks needed assistance. With this funding, we're asking for $37,213 this year with the goal of helping 35 clients and households to avoid eviction. As we know, avoiding that eviction or having an eviction on the record can lead to devastating consequences and just a spiraling effect for clients. So we work with community partners to help stabilize their housing while we work on perhaps preventing having that eviction on their record. We also our staff provides wraparound services to our other units as well, so domestic violence, family, and immigration as needed. Any questions?
Any questions from the board? Thank you for your time today. We appreciate it. Our next applicant has applied for funding for economic development activities. Fabian Yepes with the Hispanic Business Initiative Fund of Florida, also known as Prospera. Please present at the podium. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Fabian Yepes, Y-E-P-E-Z, and I am the Vice President for the West Coast of Florida of Prospera. Excuse me. We are a nonprofit economic development organization that helps Hispanic entrepreneurs and businesses to start, establish themselves, grow, and sustain. Been around for over 31 years. We've been working here in Pinellas, specifically in the city of Clearwater, for a few years now. Our target basically is low to moderate income people who are either wanting to open a business or have businesses, and unfortunately because of the pandemic have had a lot of issues as well. We we offer our 4 basic services. We do seminars. We're doing constantly seminars here in Clearwater as well. We're doing as well as all around in Tampa Bay. We do one-on-one consultations in order to make it easier for Clearwater residents. We've actually been coming here and doing them here in-house, even though we don't have a full-time office here. And we've been looking for the last couple of years to try to hire somebody to be able to have here at full-time. So we're getting there. Also, we offer our business grants, which are, we make sure that when a business starts here, these people are coming usually recently arrived or that maybe first generation that are still trying to understand how business is done here in the U.S. That's what we teach them. We not only teach them how to do business, but how to do business in the U.S., which is different. Being a previous business owner down in South America, I understand the differences, and you may take a lot of things for granted, but yeah, it is very different. So, we're basically helping them create jobs. It makes a lot more sense for a Hispanic. I think it's an 80% more probability of a Hispanic with a own business to make over $100,000 versus if you're working for somebody. So not only is it just makes it makes financial sense for a business owner, and what we're trying to do is just maintain those businesses that are open here. I believe 3 out of 5 businesses don't make it to the second year, and then after that, I believe it's out of those 2 don't make it to the 5th year. Those are the numbers we're trying to lower. We want more and more business to be financially stable and be able to be successful.
Do you have a target number of businesses that you are looking to assist next year?
I believe we're going to be looking at it's over 30 businesses. Last year we saw 49, I believe. But then again, it's not some of those businesses we see a couple of times, not 2, 3, 4 times, because it's a process. So it's not a one-time thing.
So what is the funding that you're asking for going to be used for, to continue that outreach?
The funding is to continue the outreach, yes. Yes, absolutely.
With the goal of, you said 30 plus businesses?
30 plus, yeah, we're usually going over that number.
How do you measure success for those businesses that you assist? The fact that they're still open, the fact that they're growing, do you have metrics that you use for them, or is it kind of like custom?
No, we have a whole CRM system that we've been carrying for a few years, and we can see how many jobs were created, what the household income, how that has been advancing. Obviously, it's like I said, it's not a one-time thing. You have to go, and you work, and they become clients, and we work with them for many years. Sometimes they just come a couple of times, they get on their own, and then we try to make the follow-up, and they some are responsive, some are very thankful actually, and they do donations. Right. So we have everything across the board.
Your goal is kind of to make yourself not needed anymore, just like one of the previous presenters that we saw.
And ideally, that would be it, yes.
You'll be here until you're needed, and then you'll be happy to sunset, yeah?
Here till I retire and then some.
Right, thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
No, how much is they ask that you're...
They ask 50,000.
I'm sorry?
50,000.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Our next presenter is Zachary White with the Homeless Emergency Project, also known as the Homeless Empowerment Program, but probably most commonly known as HEP. You'll have 3 minutes to present.
Good morning. My name is Zachary White, W-H-I-T-E, the Executive Vice President with HEP, the Homeless Empowerment Program. I'm here today to address the proposal we submitted, the request in regards to salary support for a housing navigator. HEP, in partnership with the City of Clearwater, in addition to Pinellas County, is now one of the, if not the largest provider for homeless families. And so we have expanded our family shelter program, and That collaborative involves ancillary supports in regards to mental health, substance abuse, dental clinic, an entire array of services, not to exclude our employment program. We have an ever-expanding vocational employment program that is making significant impact in the community in terms of streamlined, expedited employment opportunities within specific targeted industries to provide gainful wages, opportunities for employment sustainability for these families. And so our request is for salary support of a housing navigator to assist not only the families but the individuals residing within our emergency shelter program to quickly identify permanent housing solutions in the community and utilize the abundance of wraparound services, rental assistance, etc., to quickly get these families and individuals housed. We're in close coordination and prioritize and actually solely rely on the coordinated entry system through the Homeless Leadership Alliance to bring in all of these families and individuals that are in need of the services that we provide. And so that's really the gist of it. The case managers are working very, very diligently with the families, with the individuals to establish not only treatment plans in regard to their unique goals or ambitions in which they aspire to achieve, but also to establish a viable housing stability plan to ensure their continued success in the community, and then to extend our service. Our staff will continue to follow up with the families, particularly once they've secured permanent housing in the community, to provide ongoing support and services to ensure that they don't slide into a situation that might, produce some type of recidivism or continued episode of homelessness.
Just for my clarification, the clientele that the housing navigator will be working with are the residents in the shelter and your transitional housing programs?
Largely our emergency shelter programs. HEP, just for your information, has largely reallocated the majority of our transitional housing programs into now permanent housing for families, predominantly.
And is your goal, I know affordable housing is not very widespread, but is the goal to try to keep them in the residence of Clearwater or just find affordable housing?
Well, I would say that's largely contingent on the family or individual's preference, but predominantly it's within Clearwater.
Thank you.
So just to clarify, in terms of numbers served, we're looking at serving 150 people at or below 30% average median income, with a total of 64 households. And as I mentioned, in collaboration with the city and the county, we're now poised to house and assist 52 families per year, and we hope to exceed those numbers as well. A housing navigator would certainly expedite many of these cases and resolve these homeless episodes in a much more timely fashion.
Thank you. Board, any?
Yeah, I do have a question. So if most of your transitional housing got turned into permanent housing, are you seeing an issue with where to put the people that are transitioning to a permanent housing, or do you end up doing it just a little bit differently with the resources that you have?
Well, we're finding success in either transitioning those individuals or families out of shelter into our permanent housing or securing housing out in the community. The transitional housing model is largely phasing out, I'd say, from a federal perspective in alignment with Housing First. A lot of Florida statutes, quite frankly, have kind of created an adverse impact in regards to having transitional housing models and how that relates to Florida tenant law. So then we wound up with tenants that claim right of tenancy, and it's just not what it used to be in terms of a tenable housing program.
So it's a good change.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's all.
Other questions? Thank you.
Thank you for your time and consideration.
Our next presenter is Ellen Stouffer with Suncoast Housing Connections, formerly known as Tampa Bay CDC. Ellen will present on two applications, one for purchase assistance and another for homeowner education and counseling. You will have 5 minutes to present.
Thank you. Ellen Stouffer, Stoffer. I am the Vice President of Operations for Suncoast Housing Connections. Suncoast has been around for 40 years, providing services in that time to over 66,000 Pinellas County residents, and we have had a long-time partnership with the City of Clearwater. I'm here today asking for continued support for our home buyer education and counseling program, as well as a continuing partnership in providing the administration of the down payment assistance program, excuse me, for the city's down payment program. Our goal is to assist clients in becoming informed home buyers based on their situation, income, credit, debt. We determine affordability, and we guide them as to what home price is right for them. We do not want to see people becoming housing burdened when they go to purchase a home. Housing burdened are those people, whose housing costs take up more than 30% of their total family income. That puts them in a very precarious situation. So how we do that is through the provision of the services that we offer as a fully HUD-approved counseling agency. Home buyer education, an 8-hour home buyer education class that takes them through everything from are they ready to buy a home to, okay, you've got the home, how do you maintain the home? To financial education, basic money management. I think probably everybody in this room could benefit from basic money management, these people specifically, so we do offer a financial fitness class. Our pre-purchase counseling is where that person who's gone to the class and heard the 30,000-foot information, now it's brought down to them. We're looking at their income, we're looking at their situation, and we determine, again, projected income, housing affordability. Unfortunately, the flip side is we also offer foreclosure prevention counseling, because some people do find themselves in a situation where they've owned the home, they can no longer make the payments. We assist them working with their lenders to see if we can get a workout to keep them in that home, because we know having them move out creates a whole other set of issues. The down payment administration, again, we do the income certifications and the underwriting for the applications that come in through the City of Clearwater. And although it's not in this grant, we also do real estate development, and I heard mentioned earlier about solar, and we just broke ground in Largo for our first net zero home, and that's going to be our focus going forward. So in fiscal year 22, which is our last complete year, we provided homebuyer education to 90 Clearwater residents, counseling to 19, down payment assistance loans, we completed 8. We had more, but 8 were able to be closed, and we helped 8 people become citizens of Clearwater County. And although in the time we've been doing this, technically what we do has not changed, the needs of our clients have definitely changed. We've heard it said from everybody. We've talked about housing affordability, and I want to put some numbers around that. In February, the Pinellas Realtors Organization had the median sales price of a home in Pinellas County at $430,000, which is up 4.6 at the same time last year. 912 new listings occurred in February, down 11%, and 772 homes closed, which is 80% lower than last year at the same time. So we are looking at an inventory and a sales price issue. What that's resulted in is clients who've come to us and typically come and they stay with us for maybe 2-3 months. We give them the education, we help them with their down payment, and they move. They're now staying with us longer. They're coming back to us more for emotional support because they can't find a home. They've done everything we've asked them to do. They can't find a home. And they're coming to us, so our time with our clients is lasting longer and longer and longer. And Unfortunately, we don't have the answers. I don't think anyone of us in this room have the answers. But we don't know when it's going to change, if it's going to change, and how it's going to change. But we know that our goal at Suncoast is no matter how long it takes, we're going to be there to help them to successfully complete their journey to home ownership.
I was hoping you had the answer.
I wish I did.
So much easier.
Yeah, it would be so much easier.
Any questions?
I have some questions because
Yeah.
we had talked about the hurdles of the down payment assistance program, especially with the city of Clearwater, and they made some changes. What is the average length of time does it take you guys to process a down payment assistance loan for Clearwater?
It would vary, obviously the ladies would agree. Once we get the application, we do the income cert. It's usually, and I might be a little bit off on this, I'm saying somewhere between 30, 45 days. What tends to happen is things haven't occurred that we thought, so we have to go back and, they've already had an inspection, but the city wants another inspection for a different level inspection. So it does vary. I know that for us, when a down payment application comes in, it's a priority. So we get it to the down payment assistance person. They know it's a priority, and they start working with the Clearwater team to make sure that we can get it through as quickly as possible.
How many people are processing right now your down payment?
Two.
And is that dedicated just for Clearwater, or is that for all
Clearwater
of
and Largo. The
Florida?
needs for down payment assistance have, as a result of those numbers I just told you, they've gone down. So 8 is a low number. In the past, we've had years where we've done significantly more for both of the municipalities. So we're able to do them. The need just hasn't been there.
And then my one other question is, when the down payment assistance, when they're going through pre-purchase counseling, are the counselors making recommendations for partners in real estate or partners in lending, and is that list public, or how do people get on such a list?
Well, the key word there is a list.
Yeah.
As a HUD-approved counseling agent, we cannot say, please go see Lindsay and Robin, because we would be shut down. But what we can say is, here are a list of lenders and realtors that we know are familiar with working with the local down payment assistance programs. I don't know that we know who we've worked with. I mean, we don't hand them, we give them probably 4 or 5 names, and we tell them to call them all. It's like shopping for anything else. You want to pick the right person who's going to be able to help you through the process. So we don't have a list, so to speak, because we also know that in your fields, people move around to different entities, so we may say that Robin today is at Synovus, but, well, Robin's a bad example, but Robin today is at Synovus, but she could be at Truist tomorrow, so I know you wouldn't, but we know who they are, so we refer based on what we know as of that date, and again, our focus is making sure they're working, and we say it in the class all the time too, make sure you're working with members of your team who know about low to moderate income, who know about the down payment assistance programs, because it's a specialty, and being able to provide that support is critical. So we say it, and then when they come to us, if they come to us for counseling, we reinforce it by giving them that list of names that we know we have worked with and understand the process.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate that. Next up is Tampa Bay Neighborhood Housing Services, recently known as the Clearwater Neighborhood Housing Services. They also will present on applications for purchase assistance and homeowner education and counseling. We'll be hearing from Roger Rayburn. Mr. Rayburn, you will have 5 minutes to present.
Good morning. I'm Roger Rayburn from Tampa Bay Neighborhood Housing Services, R-A-Y-B-U-R-N. I love following, I often do in these kind of meetings, just because of the spelling of our agency's name, because I can often walk up and go, ditto. Because it is very similar to what they do, is what we do as well. With that being said, I'd like to add that, let me just give you an example, is that there was a gal who came to see us, her name was Jackie. I love Jackie. Jackie was great. And Jackie came to us, and she was paying 40 to 50% of her income for rent. And she works at Costco and was having to drive a really good distance to get there. And so we met with her. We started working on her credit. We started teaching her how to save money and how to actually live by a budget. She got that down. She got it down great. She was able to pay things off. She was able to get her credit score where it needed to be. She was able to save money herself. We were then able to partner with the city of Clearwater, the state, and a private lender to provide a strong amount of down payment assistance. I mentioned that she works at Costco. I mentioned that she had to drive really far or ride the bus some days to get to work. Now she walks out of Costco, imagine walking out of Costco, looking to your right to the condos. That's where she lives. And so she just walks back and forth to work now. Her mortgage, with taxes and insurance, is now below 30% of her income. She walks to work. She's able to be, to really present herself or get herself ready for a future. And I think that's a big piece of what we do. We are in the Greenwood area. We historically have worked in that area for over 40 years. And so, but we know the need is just as great all across the city. And so that's why we do what we do, because we believe in generational wealth. We believe the number one way to generational wealth is through home ownership. That is what we do.
So I'm going to ask Lindsay's question.
They're coming anyway, yeah.
Yeah, no worries, go for it.
Somebody comes to you and they want some down payment assistance. What is the time frame?
Yeah, what we tell our clients is, and we tell everyone who walks in the door, is that if you want down payment assistance, you really need to ask for 45 days on the contract. Because, just let it out there, let everybody know it up front, because we can often get it done in 30 days or so, but we may take a little bit longer because of everything Ellen mentioned. Things happen, things come up, and so we say, give us 6 weeks, just 2 more weeks than you normally write the contract. And so 45 days is usually what we can bust through without any problem.
And what kind of coordination do you have with the lender?
Yeah, with the lenders, we have great communication. Matter of fact, like I had calls with 2 different lenders yesterday speaking about their products. We're always trying to stay on top of what they have available. And again, how can we layer it? When I was a kid, there was a commercial for McDonald's. Talked about the Big Mac. The Big Mac was made of 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, and a sesame seed bun. Some of you guys know that. So what we look at is who's paying for the pickle? Who's paying for the bun? How can we get those things all together? And so spending a lot of time with lenders is what we do. So as to Lindsay's question before, do we have a list? We kind of do. We actually do say these are the lenders that we are aware of that have worked hand in hand with these programs and know how to do it and get you to the other side.
And I think where the questions came, just to pose it, because we had made recommendations to the city about their down payment assistance program because there was a lack of people being able to actually use the program because of the hurdles it was creating with time with processing it. And that was becoming a big issue. We have seen some improvements, so we were trying to see, especially when it came to the inspections, when that inspection was ordered, and I know they've made some changes and some recommendations, so we just want to make sure the counseling agencies that are doing those programs can actually meet those timelines so that the city's down payment program can be used properly.
In the month of March, we did 3. We're working on 3 right now as we speak. So it's working. Let me just say that I applaud what they're doing at the housing department there because they have just really come alongside and said, hey guys, let's see how we can how can we get this quicker, how can we make this go faster, and how can we serve folks? And they're always open for questions. I met with them just Wednesday of last week, one of the two, to talk about that and figure out some ways that we can do some other things. And the last thing I will mention is that we do believe, and to answer your question, you were saying you were hoping that she had the answer, and the answer is in this room. It's in this room. I'm hearing from everyone in here saying there's a problem. I'm hearing from everyone in here, we want a solution. I'm hearing from everyone in here, we're a piece of that solution. It's the Big Mac. It's a 2 all-beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, a sesame seed bun. It is each one of us doing our little parts to get to the other side. Our little part is we have 6 homes right now under permit that we're building in the Greenwood area. And these are going to they're going to have the down payment assistance attached to them. And then following that, we're working hand in hand with Habitat for Humanity to build 24 townhomes, all solar powered. Pretty cool. And so we're excited about that project. We'll be getting that underway later this year. It's a piece of the pie. That's how we're getting there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time today. Our next presenters are Lynn Tucker and Mike Smith with our club, Child Care. They're presenting on a facility improvement project. You have 3 minutes to present.
My name's Mike Smith, our club Child Care. I'm the property coordinator, property and coordinator. Smith, S-M-I-T-H.
And I'm Lynn Tucker. I'm the Strategic Initiatives Director, and it's Tucker. And Mike will I'll start off, and then I'll give Mike the mic so that he can talk about the project. So, good morning. We're here. Our club Child Care provides child care and youth development services to approximately 5,000 children annually. Specific to this project, our request is for $67,727 for safety improvements to make improvements on child care or on our playground facilities at our club, particularly one playground. Playgrounds are used in early learning to develop skills with kids. So providing a safe and quality playground for kids develops those skills that prepare them for school. So they develop motor skills, physical skills, coordination, social skills. So those are all key elements to preparing a child for preschool or for kindergarten. Our Gateway Preschool provides high-quality child care to 47 children from families experiencing homelessness, domestic violence, and other hardships. Many of them are financial hardships. 100% of our enrolled families are low to moderate income and are eligible for child care subsidies through Head Start and the Early Learning Coalition. When low-income families have access to high-quality early learning, their children are better prepared for kindergarten, and they're more successful when they enter kindergarten prepared to complete high school. So there's a lot of research on that. Mike will give you more details on what's needed at the playground.
It's going to specifically be for a toddler playground. They're going to be removing the existing playground equipment, the rubber surface, and there's 4 trees on there right now that what has happened is the tree roots have grown underneath the rubber, and it makes it very wobbly and unsafe for toddlers to walk. And then install a 18 by 40 hip roof shade shelter, licensing requirements, and replace the current equipment, and then install new rubber safety or rubber surface.
So one thing that we know from national research is there's a strong return on investment for early learning. So for every dollar, you get $9 to $12 return through the journey of that child through the education system. And this would equate to, in public dollars, $564,543 to $752,000. So that's our pitch.
Thank you. We appreciate everything you do. Is there a question from any of the...
What was the ages that you're...
On that particular playground, it's toddlers, so like 2 to 3, I think, for that particular playground.
And for the whole facility, that...
2 months to 5 years.
Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Directions for Living is up next. You'll have 3 minutes to present for a Public Facilities Improvement Project application.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. My name is Summer Gray. It's Gray. And I am the Senior Director of Business Development at Directions for Living, here to speak to you today about a public facility improvement project that we requested. The handout kind of overviews our request, but I will start with just a brief bit about who we are. We have a long-standing history with the city, so I believe you may know us, but we are a trauma-informed behavioral health center. So we've been around since 1982, where we just celebrated our 41-year anniversary, and we primarily provide services to our community under 3 umbrellas. We have what we call our Housing First division, which is all about trying to prevent homelessness, divert from homelessness, particularly with families, with young children, as well as rapid rehousing. Another umbrella that we have is called Families First. So we're helping those who may be at risk of interaction with the child welfare system, right? So we're helping with parenting classes, substance misuse, and other things along those lines. And our third big umbrella, which is honestly kind of our historical core service line, is our mental health services. So we're providing counseling, psychiatry. We're doing so much more than just clinic-based services. We do those, and we do them well, but we're also out in the community a lot more. We're co-located with the Department of Health, with the school system. We have a really innovative, unique contract just about school violence to try to prevent things like school shootings with the Pinellas County school system. So we're doing a whole lot of good for the community, and our main center, our headquarters, is on Belcher Road in Clearwater, and over the past several years we've really made a concerted effort to try to completely revise, it's a very old building, built in the 60s, and so we're trying to really make it reflect the services we're providing, and really make it that state-of-the-art, trauma-informed, wellness and recovery center. So clients come to us for things like therapy appointment, psychiatry appointment. They can get their medications on site. We have a pharmacy. So we're seeing hundreds of Pinellas County, Clearwater residents coming through our building every single day. And a couple things that are next that really need to be addressed are our flooring and something called kind of a cap on our half wall around our building. So our flooring is over 10 years old. It is really reflecting wear and tear. It's not taking to cleaning very well, and it's really not providing that safe, healthy, healing environment that we really want our clients to have when they come in, especially to speak about things like severe trauma that they've encountered. We want them to really be able to relax and feel safe and welcome. So our flooring that we've requested, our total project amount is $89,914, and that will cover the partial replacement of our flooring. So we will be replacing the high traffic areas in our lobbies with a higher quality vinyl flooring, and then our office spaces, again, with a high quality kind of carpet-based flooring. These will be more durable, be able to be cleaned, and again, just kind of reflect the up-to-date, right, high quality services that we're providing. So that's the flooring, and then we also have the cap of our half wall. We just recently invested in kind of the half wall, which protects our building. It's a 3-story building. Again, we have about 200 employees and then hundreds more clients every single day coming through. The total number who will benefit from this project, 12,340 people. And the half wall we just recently replaced, which is great, but the contractor that did the work identified that we're really at risk because this is a little out of my jurisdiction, but it's a parapet wall, so it's exposed on 3 sides, and apparently it can absorb water, and that can really cause damage. So we highly recommended, for the integrity of this wall, to keep our building safe, that we add a slab across the top, so kind of a cap on the wall. He said once that's done, that will seal it and will add 20 years to the life of the wall. Speaking of years, for the flooring that we are requesting funding for would cover us for 10 to 20 years as well. So we're talking long-term benefits.
Thank you. In reviewing your application, I did notice this is part of a larger project. And my question to that extent is, even if will you proceed with these 2 parts of this project, even if funding for the rest of your larger project is not received?
Yes, absolutely. So if we were to receive funding from the city of Clearwater in this amount, we would absolutely proceed with these 2 components. We kind of broke it apart so that we could go, right, if funding was secured, yes.
Okay.
Yes, we'd be very excited to do that.
Board, any other questions? Thank you for your time
Thank you so much.
Our next applicant applied for a Public Facilities Improvement Project, Kimberly Nunn Crawford with Willa Carlson Health and Wellness Center. Will you please come to the podium? You'll have 3 minutes to present.
Good morning. Kimberly Nunn Crawford. Last name is Nunn, N-U-N-N hyphen Crawford, C-R-A-W-F-O-R-D. Good morning. So I'm representing the Willa Carson Health and Wellness Center, and we provide, we're a free clinic, and we provide basic primary care services to uninsured veterans. We also provide a small amount of mental health counseling. And part of our mission, one thing is that we say we provide culturally sensitive care in a welcoming environment. And we realize that it may not be so sensitive if people cannot get in the building easily. So our project is we have 2 doors. We'd like some assistance, or requesting assistance with updating for ADA, Americans with Disabilities compliance, to meet that compliance. The first door, once we started getting estimates, it came to our attention that that first door is not a standard size. It's narrow and it's heavy. So that's one of our concerns. So not just for individuals who may be deemed disabled, just anyone who may be smaller in nature, or if someone has some, maybe problems with shoulders. So we'd like to get that a push button. So the push button, of course, would be set up outside, and they could easily push and enter if needed. Currently, the way it's set up, if someone needs the larger space, you have to open both doors, which is awkward. Okay. The second door leads to, it leads to our community room, and in that room, once a month, we offer a lunch and learn. That lunch and learn, because it's in the middle of the day, most of the participants are retirees or disabled. So the average age is probably 75. Our concern is that if there were ever any type of emergency, those individuals would not be able to easily exit. So if you even just look at that door there, it has the emergency bar to push out. That's what we're seeking. The total project is $14,000. We're asking for $12,000. It would take 2 days.
Any question? Thank you for your time today. We appreciate your. Next up, presenting a public facilities improvement project is the Arc of Tampa Bay. You will have 3 minutes to present.
Hello, good morning. I'm Carolyn Reginelli with the Arc Tampa Bay. We're formerly known as U Park. and that's REGINELLI. This application is for funding for one of our day programs that's located at the Long Center. We currently operate 3 day programs. The mission of our organization is to serve people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and to empower them so that they have the ability to do things above and beyond what is normally expected of them and what's on their individual support plan. At the Long Center, we were severely impacted by COVID, as most organizations. We did have to shut down our day program operations temporarily, and when we started back up, we kind of followed guidance from the Agency for Persons with Disability, which pretty much was like smaller groups, and that's worked really well because it's empowered our clients to make choices in what they want in their curriculum and throughout the day in community-based services. Another challenge we're facing right now is the Agency for Persons with Disabilities. They are doing away with the program that's called sheltered workshops. Now, typically, the way a sheltered workshop operates is it's contract piecework that's done through the Department of Labor, but that program is going away, and the goal is to take those individuals and either put them into a community-based employment or else help them in an agency facility, but to do other skills that will eventually empower them so that they are ready to go into the community, or maybe they're looking at retirement and they want to be able just to do the things they enjoy on a daily basis. So part of our whole program redesign has been not only to look at the facility itself, but also to look at the curriculum so that we can support and empower them as they go throughout life, be it work, be it leisure, be it just learning. So the project itself is a very large project, and we've already met with an architect, and he has developed the schematics for that. So we're already in the phases. We know we're moving forward with this, so it's going to be a phased project, because initially, our initial estimate from a contractor was over $300,000. But we realize we can implement in phases because there's so many spaces in the building that we want to renovate. We occupy over 50,000 square feet at the Long Center. Probably the biggest area we're looking at is 7,500 square feet, which is our workshops that are going away. So we can phase that. We can do one workshop at a time. We can look at sprinkling the workshops. So it's not that we are going to implement it all at once. We need to take our time with it anyway, because these are individuals that some of them have autism or other behaviors that it's challenging for them to just all of a sudden you change their day and you rearrange it. So anyway, so we're doing this with consumer choice as well. They've expressed their interest. Any questions?
I do, and you were touching base on this towards the end as a multifaceted project. I see your request is for $90,000, but I'm not sure what this is what part of the phase and what is actually going to be funded with this.
Our goal would be to start with at least one of the workshops. The workshops themselves are probably 7,500 square feet. We have 2 of them downstairs. So each probably around 3,500 to 3,500 to 4,000 each. So if we could at least partition one into 3 smaller classrooms, then that would be a start. We would want to sprinkle the area, and we would want to partition it, and then that way each classroom, the way our whole day program vision is, like specified curriculums, like it's art and design, computer technology. We've already had experience doing these on a limited basis, but we want to expand it so that individuals that were in these sheltered workshops can have some other skills that they can use. They can make money selling arts. We already do that in one of our other programs. So we want to, at least if we could get one sheltered workshop subdivided, that would be a start.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Our final presentation today is the Society of St. Vincent de Paul. Christine Bond will be presenting. You will have 5 minutes to present on your 2 public facilities improvement projects. One project is for 1339 Park Street and one for 1345 Park Street.
Good morning. Thank you all so much for your time. St. Vincent de Paul has been around for about 40 years. Last year we celebrated our 40th year, and we started serving sandwiches out of the back of a truck behind our thrift store. And then we came to our current facility where we provide a meal 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's a hearty, nutritious, freshly made meal every day to provide sustenance for the next day. Our goal is to treat people with respect and dignity and to give them what they need to continue on. But we also have turned our focus since 2019 into helping people get off the streets. We don't want to be an enabler, we want to be part of the solution, and we've been very aggressive about that. Our numbers when I first came a couple years ago were at about 120 averaging a day, and now we're averaging about 80 to 90. We've moved a lot into housing. We work very closely with the City of Clearwater Police Department, street outreach team. They're at the kitchen every day, and we work very hard to move people on. We also have a Homeward Bound program where we're averaging about 1 to 2 people a week. We're returning back to family and friends for a fresh start and to help them get off the streets. It's amazing how many people come here without a plan, oftentimes in a vehicle, thinking they'll get a job and they'll get a place and everything will be great, and that's not the way it plays out. And they often find themselves lost with absolutely nothing. And so we work very hard to help them get back on track and to get back to family and friends. So we do that. At the kitchen, we also provide mail service, showers, laundry, emergency hygiene items, anything that people would need to survive. We have a senior nutrition and senior survive the elements program. And with that, we serve an average of about 35 to 40 senior citizens each week, with 170 this past year. And one thing I have learned is about a third of our clients are seniors who bring in Social Security, but it's not enough to survive. And it's not that they're addicts, and it's not that they're criminals, and it's not that they want to be on the streets. And I know this because our numbers drop at the beginning of every month. And why is that? Because they get their money and they go into a hotel, and they stay until that money is exhausted. And every month they go back to the same hotel. So that tells me, 1, they want to be housed, and 2, they're good residents because they're always welcome back. So we're really trying to work on developing some partnerships to help this group be housed with dignity and respect to live out their last days. Because they are not candidates for finding a new job and jumping into the workforce. For those jumping into the workforce, we have the STARS Employment Readiness Program in our resource center, and we work very hard to support PERC, who runs that program. We offered them the space at no cost so that they could provide their services to our clients there in the resource center. So the 2 requests I have. 1, the kitchen. We are on Park Street, which runs parallel to Cleveland. I don't know if y'all are familiar with DeLuca's Restaurant. Wonderful place. Go there if you haven't, and they're wonderful people. We are right behind them. And so the front of our building faces Cleveland Street. And as a part of the area that's being revitalized, we want to be a partner in that. We want to help. We don't want to be a problem to the community. We want to be a blessing. And that's what I tell my clients. We don't leave trash. We are good residents, good neighbors. So the front of our parking, I can use this, right? Where's
The other one, I think.
The other side.
this side? There you go, here. Okay, let's see if I can figure this out. It's not
Cover the
rocket
logo.
science, right?
Cover the logo.
There we go, okay. Turn it that way. Okay. So you can see from the parking lot, there's a lot of cracks, a lot of breaks in the pavement, and so most of our clients come on foot, except for those who are living in their cars. And it's dangerous. We have people fall, we have a lot of people with walkers and canes, and it's kind of steep, and it really needs a cleanup. And it would be very nice for the neighborhood too, to have a prettier view than when they're seeing. That's another angle of it. So this is for the repaving. And this is the look of the building. I'm sorry it's so small. But this top floor is what faces Cleveland. So if we put a big, beautiful mural on there, you could see it from Cleveland, and it would just be one more blessing to our neighborhood and one more thing for Clearwater to be proud of and to kind of, be a positive impact. So that's for the the kitchen job, the 1345 Park Street. For the other is for a resource center. The resource center was originally CHIPS, Clearwater Homeless Initiative Project. And that space was used for housing, and it's been, a lot of their bathrooms, large bathrooms with showers that have not been used for ages, they're inoperable. We'd like to convert that to office. Questions?
Any questions, board?
I don't believe so.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this point, I'd like to thank the board members and the presenters for today. We saw a wide range of projects, and the impact of CDBG funding goes well beyond the dollars that are expended, well beyond by impacting lives. And those are lives of city residents, and we appreciate all of the work that is being done in the cooperation of all of the agencies. Board members, do you have any other comments on the presentations at this point? No. This concludes the scheduled business for the day. Old business, does the board have any new or old business that you'd like to discuss at this point? The only thing I'd like to just make a comment on is our presentations from the community about the need for affordable housing that we started with. With today's extended agenda, we're not going to discuss that in detail, but I would like to hold that and keep that idea as we move forward throughout this year, and as we as we're looking for affordable housing projects, and just keep that on our mind. We may want to discuss ways that the community can help us in that project at future meetings. So we will just keep that on our target for future meetings. Our next item on the agenda is the director's report. Ms. Sanderson, do you have anything additional to report today?
I do, thank you. So I wanted to follow up. Good morning, Denise Anderson, Economic Development and Housing. So you're not seeing Chuck this morning, and I'm sure you all miss him. And he has, as you know, been reassigned at this point temporarily as interim director of public works. So you're stuck with me. But I wanted to follow up on a couple of things that Chuck brought to you previously, and so this sort of comes in under our old business, if you will, in terms of the director's report. So in November, Chuck briefed this board on the closure of Capri Mobile Home Park, and just briefly, I wanted to mention that residents at the park were duly notified of its pending closure, which required residents to vacate by March 12th. And in December, council approved $250,000 allocation to Pinellas Community Foundation to solicit and contract with an agency who would provide direct housing navigation services to residents of that park. Homeless Leadership Alliance was selected as that agency and quickly deployed housing services to engage residents, housing navigation services, if you will. We've heard a lot about that today, to engage residents and connect them with these services and to assist in relocations, security deposits, and the like. Kathy Ham, some of you may know her formerly with Directions for Living. She is now a social services specialist with our police department. And Gabe Parra, who is sitting in the gallery today, he formerly led the city's homeless initiative. The two of them work very closely with the property manager at Capri and with HLA to ensure that residents receive the support that they needed. I've not yet received the final report from Pinellas Community Foundation, which reflects the activities of the HLA. But as of March 14th, 2 units were still occupied, and as of March 22nd, 1 remained occupied. Unfortunately, of the 2 residents in that 1 remaining occupied home, 1 resident refused to leave and was served eviction papers. And while we never wish to see these kinds of things, I can share with you that of the 70 to 80 occupied units, we certainly see the work of HLA is critical to really stepping in and helping these residents during a very stressful time of crisis. Additionally, and separately, I wanted to mention 1454 South MLK Avenue. This is a project that Roger Rayburn actually referred to with Tampa Bay Neighborhood Housing Services. that organization, formerly known as CNHS, and Habitat for Humanity were the successful respondents to the RFP we issued for the city-owned property next to Norton Apartments. The two organizations plan to co-develop 24 townhomes, 12 of which will be under 80% of area median income, and 12 will be for households up to 120% of area median income. And the mixed income project will provide home ownership opportunities in an area largely dominated by rental units in Lake Bellevue. And as with most income-restricted construction projects, there's a number of subsidy types that were required to support the project. And if approved at the next council meeting on April 20th, the city will also be providing 5-kilowatt solar installations. This is funding provided initially by the American Rescue Plan Act, but received as local fiscal recovery funds. And while it does not support the underwriting, meaning you cannot use the savings, the electrical cost savings as part of the underwriting criteria, certainly will help with the operation of those units, making it more affordable in the long term. So we're hopeful that council will approve that project, not only the project for co-development, but for the solar installation as well. Finally, I wanted to bring to your attention a presentation I'll be providing to council at its May 1st work session. Councilmember Teixeira has requested an overview of all affordable and workforce housing units, both current and planned, and council is, of course, very aware of the challenges facing home buyers and renters. We'd like to have a clearer picture of this landscape, as with this board, as Kevin just mentioned. So I plan to provide that same presentation to this board at our next meeting in May. And speaking of the next meeting, that meeting is scheduled for May 9th. It is a required public hearing on the recommended budget allocations for the projects that you heard about today. And a quorum for that meeting is essential. So I'll be reaching out to you to make sure that indeed we will have a quorum for that meeting. Please do let me know if you already know that you're unable to attend. So 9 o'clock, May 9th in this room, and I'll look forward to seeing you then. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Sanderson.
Thank you so much.
The item number 7 on the agenda is board members to be heard. Starting on my right, any comments or anything you'd like to?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So one of the things that was brought up today, and I know that Lindsay is also going to talk about it, is the down payment assistance program. And I recently had a coworker get down payment assistance from the city of Clearwater. She went through Suncoast Housing Connections, and she did not have a very good experience. There was a lack of communication. I guess it turned out that her housing counselor left Suncoast, and she didn't know it until I called Suncoast to find out what was going on, and they said, oh, she's gone. There was no communication with us as the lender, so we didn't even know what was going on and how things were progressing, and her inspection was not requested until about less than a week before the scheduled closing of the contract. I believe she closed last week, but it was a few days late. So anyway, just wanted to bring that up. But she did not have a really good experience with Suncoast and going through the process. And she is an underwriter of mortgages, and she was confused by the process.
Okay. Thank you, Robin. Any other, do you have any comments? Lisa?
Mine's opposite. So I just worked with somebody that went through Hope Expo and did the pre-purchase counseling with a housing counseling agency, and I was pleasantly surprised of how quick the process was, how easy the process was for her. The biggest, I think, thing that we had talked about the most is when they order the HQS inspection, which is always separate from a real estate contract timeline. It fell within the timeline. Actually, they were almost ahead of us, where I had to say, whoa, I'm still negotiating repairs. We can't have that. So it was very successful. I was happy to see the changes and pleasantly surprised of how quick the process went for her.
Thank you. Board members, thank you for your time today. I appreciate everybody. Your comments are greatly appreciated. Item number 8, adjournment. Our next NAHAB meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, May 9th at 9 a.m. here in the council chambers in the main library. Meeting is adjourned.